This is Binghamton Now on News Radio 1290 WNBF Binghamton and WNBF.com.
I'm Bob Joseph. Binghamton Now is on the air for Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024. Now is the time to call if you'd like to talk. Our number is 607-772-1290. WNBF. And here we go. It's a Tuesday, and we are ready to see where this broadcast endeavor takes us. Who knows? Start things off with a blank slate. No talking points. No particular mission except to offer you a forum. You are in the command center because if you have a phone, you call the shots. Like this person, for example. You're caller number 1, ready to call the shots. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Bob. It's Gary from the West Side. Good morning.
Good morning. You're caller number 1. Get set to call the shots. What's on your mind, Gary?
All right. Well, sometimes I get caught in this mindless things. I was watching TV, Food Network, the other day, and they had this show on from Australia. And they're making these meringue pies. Now, Bob, I don't know about you. I don't even like meringue pies. I don't know why I'm watching it. So when they got done baking the pies, they brought it out. There was a studio audience there. And they brought it out to the studio audience, and everybody's cheering and clapping. And I'm thinking to myself, boy, that's strange, because Australians, they usually boo meringue. And that's where we are right now. Bob, you remind me of Pat Paulson. When they used to tell jokes, and then, there's just like no reaction, just a straight face.
Thank you. Coming from you, that's a compliment. I remember Pat Paulson, and
he was funny.
He was funny, and I think you may have nailed it. I've been waiting for decades for someone to provide some sort of equivalency of who I may have been, say, in a previous incarnation. Maybe I was Pat Paulson.
Maybe you were. Hey, before we get into the Kamala bashing, I'd like to go on a different subject here. And I saw this commercial. I don't know if you've seen it, where it's about shame. Have you seen the shame commercial about overweight people?
No, I missed that one.
Yeah. You didn't miss much. But so what it is they show this person, and she's claiming, shame has been with her whole life, that wherever she goes, people give her these looks like they're like...
Oh, you're saying shame, as in she was ashamed. Oh, I thought you said Shane. I thought like her husband's name was Shane.
No, Shane.
Shame. Yep. Okay. I still haven't seen it, but...
Okay. Have you heard about it?
No.
Okay. So anyway, they're showing this, and then, they're saying how, I wrote it down because I can't remember these things that they say, but they say that health is not about what weight we lose. It's about all the things that a body can gain. Obesity is a matter of health. Brought to you by E.J. Lilly Company.
Of course it is.
I'm not kidding.
Well, I'm not surprised. I had no idea that they would stoop that low, but look, it's all about pushing product.
It's like what? We can't say to someone, you know what, you're a little overweight. I could see your health is declining. You're not doing that well. How about we change our eating habits or do some exercise or something like that? No, we can't say that. Let's say, let's go to the doctor. We'll get you on this medication, and we'll make you all better. Just take it for the rest of your life. It's going to cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. That's where our society is at. I mean, I don't believe
all right.
that.
Well, hold on, because I've never seen this, but I just punched it up on my screen. I don't know how much of this. Did they say bad words? I mean, any of Carlin's bad words slipped through on the...
No.
Okay.
No.
Because I see the first frame. It says obesity is a matter of health. Shame has no place in it. So as a public service and to educate myself about what the home viewers probably have seen. I'm going to play at least the first few seconds. So just everybody sit down. Unless you're driving, then stand up.
Shame. It's been here as long as I can remember. Living in glances of people I loved and ones I didn't even know.
Oh, I can't take it anymore.
Yeah, people are looking at her like,
yes.
Oh, my God, she's so fat. No, maybe they're looking at the sign right behind your head or something, right?
Yeah. No, they're looking at her like she just shot someone. Or worse.
Yeah, you're so horrible. What did you have to eat today? Couldn't you help stop eating? No, it's just, that's ridiculous
sick.
in itself.
That is sick.
But, maybe people feel that. I don't know.
Then they show her in the water. Did somebody push her into the river? Looks like
she looks like she's kind of drowned.
Oh, yes.
But she comes down and she's dancing.
Oh, wait. Let me play it through.
She starts dancing.
Yeah, I stopped at the 15-second mark because first, let me see how she wound up. Looks like a wave overtook her at some building outside Eli Lilly headquarters in Indianapolis. Let me just play this through so I can get the full. Actually, there's a guy like on the bus. He's got, the phrase, if looks could kill? It looks like this guy wants to kill her.
The good actors, they got the good
actors.
They're
great actors. That's like the beadiest eyes. Hold on. Let me, okay, I'm going to play the final 20 seconds. Excellent casting. This guy, could have been like Andre Brower on Homicide: Life on the Street. This guy was more he has no speaking role in the commercials, or he's only on the screen for a few seconds, but he looks more ominous than Andre Brower ever did when he was grilling murder suspects in the box on Homicide: Life on the Street. Okay, let's pick it up at the 8-second mark. Oh, there's a wave.
The music, right?
Yep. And then the wave overtakes her. She's walking on the street in Indianapolis. Now she's struggling in the water.
And then she starts dancing. She comes out of the water.
She did. She was in the water for about 2 seconds.
She's happy. She's happy.
Yeah.
Because nobody's looking at her.
Yeah. Everybody's. But it's weird because it's all shot basically in sort of it's an odd kind of black and white. I'm sure people
like a green white shade or something.
Yeah,
it's almost when you take these drugs because that's the way you're going to be when you get on these drugs.
Yeah, it makes me woozy. And on this particular version,
it's kind of sad because it makes you like if somebody could be watching it and go, oh, geez, well, my daughter is putting on a lot of weight. I was going to talk to her, but now maybe I shouldn't because I'll shame her.
Yeah. Well, let me just play the beginning again because not only is the ad copy special, but the ominous music. The music,
right.
The photography, the casting. Hold on. Yep. Let's stand by so I can be scared again.
They got the money for all these things.
It's been here as long as I can remember. Living in glances of people I love.
That one guy, the first guy they show, looked like he's an inmate at Attica. Looks like the guy, at Auburn, the guy who used to make the license plates, but he was taken off the license plate line for bad behavior. He looks like he's doing at least 50 to life up at Auburn.
Right. And if he had a line, it would. If he had a line, it would be some crazy thing.
Yeah. I would love to talk with the person from the ad agency who developed the commercial because I'm tempted to buy some of whatever it is they're selling.
$199 a month and you can have it every month.
Yep. Wow.
I know,
wait, hold on. Let me see. There's another one though that is a minute version. Let me just see if it sounds much different. Maybe because it's twice as long, maybe it's twice as good. Hold on. Maybe it's twice as good. Hold on. See if this. It has the credits. The colorist is somebody named Sean Coleman and working for some place called Company 3. Producer Matt Moran. Director Malik Syed. Director of photography, also Malik Syed. and the production company is Little Minx Films, and that's what this is. It's a film. Of course, now I tried to get the 1-minute version to play. Let me try one more time. I don't think it wants. Let me just. Oh, here we go. The 1-minute version of Shame. Shame. Shame.
It showed up when I was young.
Shame.
And stayed like a shadow.
This one has
living in glances of
piano.
people I loved. And ones I didn't even know. Always reminding
She's
me
riding a
my
bus.
body's
She's on a BC
supposed to
Transit
be
bus, and everybody is looking at her like she ought to be ashamed. Oh, my gosh. Oh, there's where she goes into the water. Here in this longer version, she's underwater for an extended period.
But what good is shame when it comes to health?
Good voiceover.
Health is not about what weight we lose. It's about all of the things the body can gain.
All right. Well, I support it then, because what they're trying to do. They're not trying to sell a product. They're trying to help people.
You think they're trying to help people with that one commercial?
Yeah, especially now that I see the minute version. I think the 30-second version, I was led to believe that they were just trying to make money. As you said, $199 a month. And if that would be, what would that work out to? That'd be almost $2,400 a year. So at first I thought all they were interested in was trying to move product. And it turns out, as I was able to discern with the 60-second version, they're more concerned about helping people.
By selling their product. Because if you really want to help somebody, you talk about changing things like diet and exercise. That's how you help people. Not by saying, you can go on this drug and that will make you thinner.
Ah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like if I go to try to talk to my kids because they're overweight, I feel guilty because I see this commercial. I don't want to shame them. I want them to grow up and be who they are.
Okay, right? I see. Now I see.
That's just the viewpoint. They put that out there for this, Bob. You say good things about me, say bad things about me, but just say something about me. In other words, if people are talking about it, everybody wants to know what it is, and some people will buy it and all that. But that's the crazy part of our market. I think that drug can help people. It can.
Okay.
But just know that you're going to be on it for a lifetime.
But do you think even if they are trying to move product that could bring them in $2,400 a year for every person they get on the program, I mean, let's face it, if you're going to be using that, say, for at least 10 years, that's going to be at least $24,000, I guess. So my question is, is that okay, though? I mean, we are a capitalist country, and also it would help the economy. So
that's true.
So it could help people. Because again,
it could.
There should be no shame.
Because they don't know how this drug does work. There's no doubt about that. But they don't know how it helps people lose weight. They don't know how people lose weight on it. But they know that if you take it, you do lose weight.
Yeah, I've heard that.
That's a scary point. That's a scary point right there.
Yeah, so probably after 5 or 10 years of research, they're going to find some disturbing...
Yep. You're going to keep losing weight until you get to nothing, or something.
All right. Well, you've given me food. You've given me food for thought.
All right, let's start the bashing. Kamala. All right. See you, Bob.
Yeah, thank you. WNBF. Hi, you're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from? Hi, you're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from? Oh. Third time's a charm. Hi, you're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning there, Bob. It's Dave from Vestal. staying along that topic, Bob, here's a hair-raising stat for you. 77% of the people that go to enlist in our military, Bob, are rejected. And a big factor is obesity. Now, that's scary, Bob, to think that big of a number is rejected. I've been thinking about that, and that's too big, Bob. We got to get that down.
Why? Because that means fewer people will be eating delicious snacks that are baked by our friends and neighbors. Well, not just baked, but fried and prepared at the big snack plant in Kirkwood. So what you're telling me is you want people to reduce their intake of those popular and appropriately priced bags of delicious snack foods. You want them to eat less of that, and therefore that could result in layoffs or even a closing of the plant.
I want people to be healthy, especially our military, but they got to be healthy and in shape. I even get disgusted at some of the law enforcement. I mean, Bob, I'm 67. I see some of these cops, I could outrun them any time of the day.
Wow, you're harsh. You are harsh, baby.
Well, it's true, though, Bob. I mean, come on. When you're in important positions like that and you help the community, you got to be in better shape. Be more conscientious. Come on.
Oh,
this is America, man. Come on. We can do the right thing.
You better be nicer. I thought the whole point of this year's campaign was people are going to start being nicer.
Well, I'm doing my best, Bob. Doing my best.
All right. Well, as long as you try. All right. Thank you. Well, as long as you try. It's 10:27. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where you're calling from?
Good morning, Bob Joseph.
Oh, I see. I see how this will be. Now I see. Did you call the secret number, the hotline?
I forgot.
Oh, that's okay. No, I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss it. This is a preview for those of you who are scoring at home. Continue what you're doing. For the rest of us, please listen, because this is a preview of tomorrow's informational segment sponsored by KSO Insurance Solutions. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Bob. I was fascinated by that strange commercial. I was listening to it on my way in.
Have you seen it?
No,
yeah.
But wow, what an odd thing.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it reminds me, I have to find out more about who directed it. It's almost something that you would think David Lynch would have directed it. It's so...
Twin Peaks.
Yes, thank you. It's so, almost has this film noir texture to it. You know, it's closer to Twin Peaks, definitely not Eraserhead, but it's still, as they say, as I told Gary, it's food for thought.
Certainly different. That's
it's provocative.
Sure.
I mean, my problem, one of the problems I have now is I don't watch that much TV, so therefore,
I don't either.
Yeah, therefore right. I see very few TV commercials. On those rare occasions where I actually fire up the TV and then I'm exposed to some commercials, I'm shocked. They can't say that. And the person I'm with will say, well, they just did. And I say, but they can't. And it's well, there we go again. Another taboo has been smashed.
Yes. Another one's been lifted.
Let's face it, when we were kids, there were some things you just didn't say or didn't talk about on TV.
Or in general.
Well, in general. And now, now we're talking about everything.
It was a better time, Bob.
Well, yes. Well,
yes,
it was
definitely.
Karen, it was a more innocent age. Little did we know.
Civilized.
Yes. Now, as they say, pretty much anything goes.
Yeah, I don't agree with that one for sure.
Anyway, so what's going to be on the segment tomorrow morning?
So tomorrow we're going to talk about what you should pay attention to if you're turning 65 soon. And we're going to focus on Medicare, or if you're over 65 and you're retiring, why you also have to focus on Medicare, because there's 4 parts. We're going to talk about those. Part A is hospital, Part B is medical, Part C is a Medicare Advantage plan, and Part D is prescription drug coverage. And all of those, factors play a part in your decisions about Medicare coverage. Oh, my goodness. Excuse me, Bob.
Hold on. Why don't you grab a drink of water or something? That's the tough thing about live radio. When I have to cough, the thing that I like when I have to cough or occasionally rarely sneeze, I have a little thing here where I can usually catch it before it goes over the air. Then I take a quick swig of Zima, and it's all better.
Okay.
All right. That's,
knowing that you do that made it better for me.
I was going to say, Dr. Bob prescribes. Anytime you've got kind of a scratchy throat or what the kids used to say, a frog in your throat, take 2 swigs, 1 short swig and 2 deep swigs of Zima, and your troubles will go away.
You're good to go. We are at 1708 Vestal Parkway East, up above Plato's Closet and Style Encore. You can reach us several ways for an appointment. You can simply give us a call at 607-772-4898. You can Google us at KSO Insurance, and all our contact information comes up, including our website. And if you missed the phone number, we have a big display ad under insurance in the Yellow Pages.
And, of course, I was just kidding about Zima. It's not the type of thing. It's not the type of thing I would ever recommend. Unless that's the type of thing you like. But I can't.
You're on your own on that one, Bob.
I mean, I don't think they make it anymore. They used to, the kids who used to make that, who they really were? They tried to conceal it. They tried to keep it a secret. But the people behind the magic of Zima, they were the people who make the Coors beer. Did you know that?
No, that's a piece of trivia that I can just.
They were clever that way because the people who make the Coors beer in Golden, Colorado, they did some market research, and apparently it was flawed, but their market research indicated there was some kind of a demand for what they described as a clear malt beverage, and they also, though, didn't want it to be obvious that it was being pushed by the company that makes the Coors beer. So they developed a front company, and they called it Zima Beverage Company, and they had it, I think they had a post office box like in Memphis, Tennessee, and they designed all these little bottles with a clever, unique design and a great logo, and most people who tried Zima had no idea that this is like a trick. It was a trick by the people who made Coors because they wanted to sell more stuff. Because if people weren't drinking beer, they wanted them to at least drink something.
Huh.
So now you know.
I had no idea, and now I do know.
So, and the good thing about, for those who indulge, the good thing about Zima is it seems to come back about every 3 or 4 years, whether you want it to or not. It reminds me of what McDonald's does with their McRib. You know how they say, it's one time they had the McRib going out of business tour, implying that we'd never see it again, and before you know it, 10 months later, it's back. So it's clever. I think marketing is clever.
I do, too.
I'm fascinated by it. But anyway, thank you for joining me. I will look forward to speaking with you tomorrow morning.
Very good. Have a great day. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Karen. The preceding segment was sponsored by KSO Insurance Solutions. That was Karen Sweet O'Neill. So, again, not to burst your bubble, I hope if you were a Zima fan, I hope that information doesn't in any way tarnish your joyous memories of that clear malt beverage. Hey, it's America. Everybody's entitled to take a shot. Want to reach for the gold ring? Hey, go for it. Come up with an idea. Find somebody with $50 or $100 million for an ad campaign, and See if you can sell that stuff. 607-772-1290. We're here for you. Asking a few questions and informing viewers along the way. Binghamton Now on WNBF. People like John from Binghamton. Good morning. You're on the air. Oh, hold on. Operator error. We'll just edit that out of the West Coast feed. It'll be seamless. John from Binghamton, good morning.
Yeah, that was a great record. You know, Sly's manager at the time, who was an ex-executive with Epic Records, took most of his money and bought like a pineapple farm on Maui, you know. That's why Sylvester, what the heck's his last name? Stone was not right. Anyway.
Well, thank you for the background. That's now, because I wasn't even going to think about it, but now you bring up the song. So I didn't realize this. According to the internet, it was composed by Sly Stone, and it was released 1968, and it was first recorded by his band. It was the first single by the band to go to number 1 on the Soul Singles chart and on the Billboard Hot 100 chart, back when that was meaningful. These days, the Hot 100 chart has lost any sense of meaning. But in our day, John, the Hot 100 chart or the album chart or the Soul chart, those things actually had some relevance to the reality of music that was being purchased.
Yeah, I like the one note being pounded out there with the distortion. By the way, just one more further trivia. What group did Sly Stone produce before he became famous? He was a disc jockey, remember?
Oh, my gosh. No, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
He produced a hit record for some mop top people, not the Beatles, of course.
Well...
the Beau Brummels, Bob.
I didn't know. But here's the question. Do you know what his real name is?
No, I don't.
So Sly Stone is his stage name, Sylvester Stewart, and he's now 81, so he's the same age as outgoing President Joe Biden.
Well, time goes by. Here's a couple things I've been spotting. One is from a publication called The Golf Wire. I believe it's today or yesterday. Dick's Sporting Goods Open PGA Tour Champions event receives another payout from Vortex Weather Insurance. So apparently for the last 2 years, unbeknownst, I would say, to virtually everybody, Dick's Sporting Goods Open BC Charities has rain insurance, and this is the second year in a row they've collected.
Really?
Yeah.
Who knew?
So, I mean, when, John would be on the news and he'd be despondent with the drip, drip, drip of the rain and everything else and crying to the county about the drainage. Well, little did we know that there was a revenue source connected with all that.
Yeah, I mean... Not surprising. Now that I think about it, not surprising. If I had any kind of event, I wonder if they do that for like the other big events around here, Balloon Fest or some other things that could be affected by less than stellar weather.
I don't know, but let's see what happens in the third year. On the public record on the 17th of July, a lawsuit was filed against Broome County Sheriff Fred Akshar, and Fred Akshar as an individual. And it's an interesting lawsuit, and the attorney is none other than Bruce Barquette's law firm.
By the way, that's a powerhouse law firm.
Well, and an expensive one, too.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. If you hire, and I can't remember the name of the law firm, my recollection is from the background involving Bruce Barquette in the past, if you want the best, it'll cost you.
Well, it's, even from my own experience, Bob, I can't believe how much money, in court-approved attorney's fees. I'm not talking about, Anyway, this concerns a company, which I won't name. People can look it up, and an individual that have a tow truck company. And apparently, Fred Akshar didn't like the things that they were doing and had a fit. This is according to correspondence that was put out there, email correspondence that's in the exhibits from his confidential secretary. That's the county's term for her job, not mine. Ms. Dada, which is, of course, the wife of the former GOP head honcho. So anyway, people have long suspected that, sheriff's departments, other law enforcement agencies play games when they call tow trucks.
Well, I don't want to talk about what happens around here.
Right.
But I will say you can find out online about stuff that goes on, say, across the USA today regarding law enforcement and towing services. For the moment, that's all I'm going to say because I'm not prepared to wind up having to be deposed. But we'll just say it's an intriguing industry, Johnny.
Yeah. Well, what's further interesting is apparently the sheriff's office has some sort of tribunal, a kangaroo court, if you will, that is run by the third, a hardly impartial guy, the third in command, a sheriff's deputy by the name of Harding. He runs this tribunal for Fred Akshar, where this towing company was supposed to go to plead their case. He doesn't keep, it's a hearing, but he doesn't keep transcripts nor allow sworn statements or, it is a very bizarre case. People can read it on the public record.
Right.
And
so what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is the end game here?
I think there's going to be money damages, and I think that, and by the way, one of the exhibits you cannot believe this email from Akshar. It's just unbelievable. He throws these temper tantrums. But what I think is going to happen is there's going to be a huge judgment against the county. And I believe that if they're foolish enough to depose Fred Akshar, and again, he's being sued personally too, if they're foolish enough not to settle with this guy, because they've essentially banned him from any calls, I think there could possibly be. Well, first of all, what I think should happen is Paul Battisti should appoint a special prosecutor. There's enough there that I've seen.
Well, John, how could that ever possibly work? Come on, man. And we don't have to go into detail. I just don't see how that could possibly work.
Well, I think it would be. If we have these sterling people that are around here that are beyond reproach, I think being cleared by a special prosecutor would benefit them.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, it could happen. I'm not saying it won't. It's 10:47 at WNBF. By the way, I'm going to start working on my book next month. You know how sometimes I've said I should write a book? Well, over the last few years, more and more people have encouraged me to write a book. So I'm going to start working on my book next month. So just in case you were wondering. It's 10:47. This is Bob Joseph on WNBF, where news breaks first.
This is a special report from ABC News. Secret Service chief resigns. I'm Sherry Preston. ABC News has just learned that the Secret Service head Kimberly Cheadle is stepping down. She testified for 5 hours on Capitol Hill yesterday about security lapses during the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Here's ABC News Chief Law and Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas.
Cheadle saying a local SWAT team spotted the gunman on the roof of that warehouse about 18 minutes before Trump took stage.
Why was he allowed to take the stage with a suspicious person having been identified in the crowd?
If the detail had been past information that there was a threat, the detail would never have brought the former president out onto stage.
And that the Secret Service received between 2 and 5 alerts about a suspicious person.
Cheadle had told ABC's Pierre Thomas she would not be stepping down. Again, to repeat, now she is the head of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, resigning following the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. This is ABC News.
WNBF, yes, yes, yes. As we take calls when it seems appropriate, 607-772-1290. Wow, that was a surprise. Wow, didn't see that coming. The head of the Secret Service quit. Wow. Well, after the brutality that she experienced during the congressional hearing on Monday, yikes. I've never seen anyone attack that viciously. I mean, verbally, but still vicious. That was a concerted bipartisan attack. I mean, I'm not saying that she did her job well, and I concede that clearly she presided over one of the biggest embarrassments in law enforcement history in the world, but still, it was sort of like they were treating her verbally. They were, it was sort of like a human piñata. Democrats, Republicans, the janitor. Yikes. Wow, I hope, for her sake, I hope she has a strong support network. Here she is. She's out of a job. Reputation is shot. Even if she applies for a talk show position in Binghamton, she's probably not going to get that. So, as I say, no surprise that she quit. I guess maybe some people are asking why she didn't quit sooner, but she did. There you go. As I say, she probably is in need of some sort of counseling, or at least a 6-ounce bottle of Zima. Hi, WNBF. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Tom from Susquehanna.
Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome, too, Bob. I'm still laughing over that boomerang joke. I thought the guy had I thought that was a pretty funny joke.
Well, yes, it's very funny.
All right, listen, I'm going to talk about that exercise. You were talking about, exercise and stuff. But then I also, when I finish with that, I want to just comment about that, the Secret Service woman there. Bobby, it used to be, oh, no, you don't use weights after a certain age and that. That's a load of baloney. Now you can use weights up until you die. You just be very careful with them. You know what I mean? You're not going to lift what you were lifting when you were younger. And as far as being in shape for some of these jobs, I don't understand it. You should be jogging and doing all this stuff. That's your job,
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, I'm not going to pick a fight. So what else do you think?
No, you know what, though? But, I mean, you stand up doing your thing, right? I mean, you're exercise conscious,
right? I'm standing right now. Unlike some talk show hosts who will remain nameless, but they're on between, we'll just say between noon and 6 a.m. here on the station. I don't sit down. All right.
No. Dan Bongino's in shape, and if Hannity, if you can believe what he's saying, I mean, I don't understand how he does everything during the day.
Because he records half of his show, but I can't tell you about that because that would spoil the illusion. Okay, so what else?
No, I got that. No, she should have resigned right off the bat. That was.
But there was no need for the incessant bashing. I mean, she admitted Basically, as I saw, and I didn't see the whole thing, it was embarrassing. Everybody, top to bottom, that she's dealt with for the last, 9 or 10 days has been bashing her. And I'm not saying that it's undeserved. Yeah, it's richly deserved, but enough. Stop the incessant bashing. Cut her some slack and say, look, the Secret Service has had good directors and bad directors. You're just not one of the better ones, and so leave. And we wish you luck in your future endeavors. No need to keep piling on.
She wouldn't have left if they didn't bash her. She said, "All right, I made a mistake, but I'm not leaving."
Oh, so you think she was going to try to ride this out?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
No, she would not.
Bobby.
No.
Bobby, with this administration, they have ridden out things that are unbelievable. That pull out from Afghanistan. I mean, I can't believe that. We left Vietnam and didn't leave the stuff that we left behind. Granted, we threw a lot in the South China Sea, but we certainly didn't leave it there.
I know. The Afghanistan thing was a debacle, and, of course, the Secret Service screw-up is one of the biggest debacles of our lifetime. Hey, I've got to run. We've got the news coming up.
Okay, Bobby, good show. Hang in there.
Thank you. It's 10:57. More coming up on WNBF. We'll take calls till noon, so if you have any reason to call the program, feel free. I'm going to be here anyway, so I'm happy to talk to you. That's what we do here. That's what we do here at News Radio. News. And I'm just baffled by something, and maybe you're not. Maybe you would figure that this is the type of thing that is supposed to happen. Well, I'm old-fashioned. When I grew up, here's the thing. When I grew up, the trains were supposed to have operators, Casey Jones or somebody who would actually operate the train. So you'd have an engineer, I guess, maybe a conductor. I don't know anything about train staffing. I always figured, you see a train, of course, there's got to be someone driving it. Those trains don't drive themselves. But now apparently they do. And from what I've read, they have this train out near Niagara Falls, and so they're driving it around like a kid using a remote control. And so, of course, it goes off the tracks. Of course it does. And apparently it smashed into some woman's garage. Yeah, I see the video. Her garage got smashed by the CSX train. So it's all well and good. I guess if you put a garage at the end of a train line, that's something you probably would expect to happen, that your garage eventually might get smashed by a train. So that happened on Monday near Niagara Falls. And I know some people will call and say, well, Bob, what Elvis said, accidents will happen. Yeah, accidents will happen. Yeah. That's always the excuse. Accidents will happen. So they're running this train using some sort of remote control hookup, and then the train, instead of stopping at the end of the track, it keeps going and then smashes into this woman's garage. So, as described in this fascinating story by David Robinson from Gannett News, it says the video and pictures from the scene show the blue and yellow CSX train jump the tracks before running through a fence and crashing into the woman's red brick garage. Black fluid is leaking into the nearby gutters. At the time of the derailment, it was being operated remotely, according to Niagara Falls Fire Chief Gary Pochatko, citing comments from a CSX official. 16 first responders rushed to contain the spilling fuel, though much of between 1,500 and 2,000 gallons reached the sewers. Oh, great. So now we've got water contaminated. The woman's garage is wrecked. CSX, of course, put out a statement saying the spill had no impact on waterways and posed no risk to the public. It also noted the train, quote, was not equipped for remote control operations. So I don't know. I don't know why the fire chief would say it was being operated remotely. Who knows? Maybe the guy who was supposed to be operating it hopped off, looking for a Zima. I don't know. I mean, looking for a cup of coffee or something. I don't know. I'm sure there's a reason. The rail company, CSX, did not immediately answer questions about the train's cargo or the company's use of remote operation in general. People who own the home pointed out there had been another derailment at the site several decades ago. See, that's one of the problems in this country. If they're going to allow trains to be operated remotely, then maybe they should reconsider that. I don't see some of these trains. Have you noticed the freight trains? You know, when I was a kid, the freight trains were not as long. I don't know how many cars a typical freight train. Where I lived in Endwell, we had freight trains, and they zipped through a lot. It was good because there were two sets of tracks. You know, railroad has since ripped up, in most parts of New York State, one set of tracks because they got tired of being double taxed. They get taxed by the track mile, and so they thought it would be a lot cheaper. They'd save on their taxes if they ripped up the tracks so that you only have one set of tracks. Well, that's great, I guess. Reduces their tax bill, but also restricts their operations and also makes it virtually certain we'll never get passenger rail service up here ever again. So they, when I was a kid, not only did they have someone who would drive the train, they also had some person in a car at the end. They called it the caboose for some reason. And then a few decades ago, they eliminated the caboose because they decided they didn't like paying for cabooses, and they also didn't like paying for the guy, usually a guy. I know a couple of times I saw there was a woman, I think, who was in the caboose. But anyway, this whole setup of this country trying to eliminate jobs for efficiency, where will it end? It seems like it's the race to the bottom. Remember years ago? I'm serious. Years ago, every company had lots and lots of people. You know, the phone company, the gas company, the electric company, the cable company, the radio station, Action News, the newspaper. They had lots and lots of people who were doing lots and lots of good work. And now look. Well, we don't need all those people for anything. Automate everything, including the trains, including you've got Elon Musk developing electric trucks that are driving around highways with no driver. Elon Musk and those people from the Google vehicle division, I guess Waymo. Yeah, keep eliminating jobs till we get to the point where there are only two people left working in this country. It's no wonder we're in a fix. And no wonder trains are derailing. So apparently there's some question about that derailment on Monday in Niagara Falls, whether it really was remote operation, as the fire chief suggested he was told by somebody who worked for the railroad, or who knows. As always, though, the likelihood of ever getting the full story would appear to be slim and none. 607-772-1290. I'm Bob Joseph, on your side, trying to protect the public. With Binghamton Now on WNBF. The show continues. It will not end until noon, unless we have to make changes due to operational requirements. Vinny in Binghamton, you're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Bob. Hey, listen, I wanted to talk about the Secret Service head stepping down and my frustration with just the political climate that's going on in our country. Now, soon as this shooting happened, soon as this went on the TV and started going all through the country, all over the world, the thing that got me was, Biden comes out, guys, let's just put the rhetoric down. Let's see what happens. Let's find out. Let's investigate, and let's see what happens. Let's see who it is. See if the whole thing. But you get one side that comes out and starts talking about, this is your fault, Congressman. I would, if I was the district attorney for there, I would sue Joe Biden. But Bob, we didn't even find out. Trump wasn't even off the damn stage yet. But you got your Republicans going after. They're the ones talking about Trump with the bloodshed and stuff like that, and you've got these journalists, these people, and interviewing these people, and they never come back with another question. Congressman, Congresswoman, do you really feel saying something like that is bringing this country together? They don't say that. Their follow-ups are terrible because a lot of times they don't do it. And then we turn around and we keep this nonsense going. Now this lady, she should step down because this guy's lucky. He's very lucky what happened. But what angers me is, what instrument did this kid run to? He didn't do it with a bow and arrow. He didn't do it with a pistol. He did it with the same type of apparatus, these war machines that were in Connecticut, that were in Parkland, that were in Aurora, that were in these major killings in this country, and nobody wanted to talk about it. I think the Democrats are just like, what are you going to do? This side doesn't want to talk about these war things. They don't want to talk about, they'll protect the gun. They'll talk about abortion. They want that government to get in there and tell them about that. But when it comes to stuff, these major killings, they don't want to talk about it. And it's just, it gets sickening. You get tired of it. And I think after a while, Democrats, we just have to take the whole thing, because we've got a group that doesn't want to work. They don't. They want all the power. They want it. They don't want to work. They don't want to compromise. And this is a perfect example. Now, you saw us down there interviewing this lady, too, who was the head of the, was it Raskin? He was drilling her. He's like, look at now, you guys were down here before, but you were at the airport and you had security. See, my question about that shooting, Bob, why did they have him on stage so long?
Who knows? But here's another thing, though. I mean, even before what happened in Butler County, I've long considered, and I didn't say it a lot because it obviously would fall on deaf ears, but I've long considered the whole concept of having presidents or presidential candidates or even former presidents out in the open at public events to be foolish, because it's hard enough to secure an indoor event. Even that can't be 100% safe for somebody who is truly determined to cause trouble. But if you're going to do something outdoors, it's probably inevitable that somebody, whether it was a 20-year-old guy in Butler County or somebody who has more resources and more determination, that something bad's going to happen. So The whole concept, I know some people say, well, candidates and presidents want to be able to connect with the people, and this is the way they do it. And my thought is, it's not really a connection. The amount of money, the billions of dollars that are spent by the Secret Service every year to ostensibly to safeguard their protectees, it's obviously they have to protect the people they're assigned to protect, the presidents and families and candidates and so on. But doing this and not having serious restrictions on these large scale events outdoors, sorry, at some point, somebody, whether it's the Secret Service or a presidential executive order, somebody has to say, we can't do it anymore. I would have thought, after the shooting of President Reagan on March 30th, 1981, that we would be over this thing of presidents traveling around and being so vulnerable. It seems something hasn't been learned over the last 5 or 6 decades. Look at all that this country went through since November 22nd, 1963, when JFK was killed, and then assassinations in 1968, and multiple assassination attempts on President Gerald Ford. What don't we understand? There are bad people out there, and it doesn't matter what their motivation is, whether it's political motivation or because they're deranged. There are bad people, and that therefore people who are deemed to be high-profile targets ought not be in situations that make them vulnerable, no matter how many Secret Service agents and local police are deployed.
Well, Bob, I think your answer. This is my answer to that. You've got people that have given up a lot of time in their lives to help promote this person. They're doing phone calls. They're knocking on doors. They're walking up and down streets trying to get people to vote for this person. They put in a lot of time. Weekends they're working. And I think the little thing they ask is, can you come to our town and see us? And this, and so that's why I can still connect. I need to connect to the people.
The answer should be no. It's 2024. But again,
that's the price. I told you about that, Bob. The Newtown shooting. Obama said it. Is this the price we have to pay for freedom? Yes, it is. It is.
Well, look, you've been around in the United States long enough to know there is no political will. There is no political will to address the gun issue, the gun side of the equation. And I don't see it changing. I don't see it changing regardless of who's elected president in November or regardless of the makeup of Congress. So, Bob, I mean, if you think that it's likely that America is ever going to get serious to address its gun problem, I say I doubt it.
I think it will never happen if we give up. Okay? It took 6 years after Brady got shot and Reagan. It took 6 years. That's Schumer, because he was in on this, getting this bill. It took 6 years of them going in front of Congress to get the Brady bill.
And they passed a law that they allowed to expire.
Exactly. Why? Because we got the wrong people in there. We got the wrong people in there.
Look up at the composition of the United States of America today, and for at least the foreseeable future, you're not going to get enough members of Congress to take the kind of action that I think you're proposing.
Bob, you know what's going to happen? You know what's going to make them? A major shooting, a major killing, because that's the only way you're going to get...
We've had major killings.
No, Bob. No.
What do you mean?
That guy? No, I know you have. It's got to be a couple of them to take this country up. You watch.
Well, I don't know.
That's what's going to happen. And I hate to say it, but that's the price. if those little kids up there if
it didn't have to happen after Newtown, if it didn't happen after Binghamton, if it didn't happen after Las Vegas, or list the names of major shootings that have happened in the United States of America over the last several decades. If it didn't happen after all these major shootings, I don't see what's going to actually spur action.
Oh, the only thing I say, the people have got to wake up. They've got to wake up. You got to put down your but what's happening right now is these people, they're all backed into their corners, their political ways. It's become a religion, and it's crazy. How can you say that after the guy that you want almost gets killed, and you start blaming Biden? This kid had nothing to do with that. He just went out, got his high power thing, and shot. But like I said, in the news media, do you think this is bringing people together? After a statement like that, they don't ask. So the news media, this is a perfect example of the news media, and it's all about the money. After a while, it's going to be all about the money, answering the questions, and you know what the news media is going to be? It is going to be fake news. It's fake news. You guys are just after the money.
Well, it's a business. That's how it works. That's how it works. I don't know. I'd like you to propose here, 30 seconds. You explain to me how the news media in this country or any other country can operate well and not be about the money.
By just telling the truth.
It's not in this country and in most other countries on the planet. It's not just about telling the truth. The news organization that tells the most truth isn't going to make the most money. In this country, whether you're running a media organization or a company that processes meat, the whole point is to maximize the amount of money you bring in every quarter. Maximize the profit. So whether you're meat packing or news producing, you got to maximize the profit every quarter. And it has to keep growing and growing and growing. So I don't know what kind of strategy you can envision for a so-called 100% trustworthy news organization, maybe something akin to C-SPAN, except instead of covering congressional hearings or the Senate and the House and certain other things. Even look at so-called public broadcasting. They're reliant on advertising. They're laying people off. It's about the money.
Well, I know, but Bob, can I just say this real quick to answer your question? I don't know if you've been watching MSNBC, but you should see a lot of those people now are going after these reporters. How come you don't do this? Oh, and these reporters are getting mad. One goes, it's my producer. I've got stuff. I mean, this is the point now. These people, oh, well, listen, I've got a family. I've got college bills. Oh, yeah. They're getting shook up because we're not taking it anymore. Now, they're not going to do it at Fox News, but they're doing it at MSNBC a lot. Pretty soon, CBS, ABC. You're going to start getting questioned. Because I know these executives like to hide up there behind the curtains and get rid of all these journalists, but we're going to start questioning you, and it's just like right now with these companies, how they lowering the price of food. Why? Because people aren't buying it. They pick it up. Oh, that's too expensive. I'm buying it, and they're seeing that. Oh, we're going to lower prices. We change them, not the other way around. We change them because this is getting really old. It's the same games. And this is nonsense. And so, I mean, that the people you have to see what you see. Why don't you see that? In other words, don't tell me what you see. Tell me what you don't see. What don't you see? And that's how I believe. That's what you got to do. We got to do. Because this is crazy. This shootings and stuff like that. I don't know what more you want. When you have these people that talk about, oh, there's going to be a bloodbath if this guy goes to jail. The Trump supporters have nothing to do with Donald Trump and his problems. That was him, guys. He did this a long time ago.
Well, we'll see what happens. As far as seeing big changes in the U.S. media landscape, Anytime in the next 5 or 10 years? I doubt it. But I've been wrong before, so maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. Maybe we'll see the dawn of a new era in U.S. journalism starting in January. Hi, WNBF. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
This is Tom. I had called up earlier, if you recall, in your show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to respond to that, your last caller that called up from Vestal. I was wondering how long it was going to take to start the Let's No More Guns, no more guns. I mean, the guy had an assault weapon. I personally do not like assault weapons. I don't like their styling. You know, I've got a gun on the wall here now. It's a Remington 30-06. It's a lot more powerful. It's got a German scope on it and all that. What we have to do, I can't understand how they constantly blame the gun. This was just a complete debacle. The guy is climbing on a flat roof with a gun, with a rifle. And I'll tell you the truth, I know guys could make that shot with a pistol.
Yeah, nobody said the guy was particularly gifted when it comes to marksmanship. So, all right. Well. Yeah, nothing, by the way, is going to get resolved. That's sadly, I think people should start to get used to that fact. Nothing is likely to change. People will dig their feet in. Voices will probably continue to be raised, but solutions will continue to be elusive. Hi, WNBF. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where you're calling from?
Vic from the Forks.
Yeah, what's up?
I guess we're going to talk about what Vinny said.
I was wondering how long it was going to take.
Are you there?
Yeah. Why don't you call back when you turn down your radio? Morning, WNBF. Here's a pro tip. Turn down your radio when you call me. I know what it means is you have to be really close to your radio, because when I put you on the air, make sure you almost instantly turn it down, because people get confused. Show's confusing enough without having to hear conversations multiple times. Good morning, you're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
This is Paul from West Windsor.
What's up, Paul?
Oh, I'm listening, and I just put in my 2 cents. We got a wonderful government. We got the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. It's not perfect. Yeah, there's a gun problem. There's always going to be a gun problem. And like you said, nobody knows really what the solution is. But if we stick to our Constitution and trust that we have an America under God and everything, there's good people, and the states, the separation of states and the federal government, we have a good government, and we have to try to keep it. And I'm worried about the globalism, socialism, and communism giving up the rights of the people, and the government getting too big and losing the basic rights in our Constitution. I think people should bolster the Constitution and go for it and do everything they can to keep it. It's not perfect. And that's pretty much all I got to say, Bob.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you. 11:41 at News Radio, WNBF, trying to get as many calls on as possible. Again, please, I implore you, when you call this program, be close enough to your radio so as soon as you hear your friendly host speaking to you on the phone, then you can instantly lower the volume of your radio or your phone. Obviously, maybe if you're calling, you might not be on your phone. Whatever device you're listening to, so we don't have this confusion with hearing the previous caller. Please. Thank you. 607-772-1290. Looking forward to speaking with a few more people before noon. on this live and local program that I like to call Binghamton Now. Binghamton Now broadcast moving forward till high noon. Bob and Vestal, you're on the air.
Hey, Bob, just wanted to make a quick statement based on actual facts by the United States government. Surveys showed, investigations and stuff, that fewer people have been killed by AR-15 rifles in this country than any other weapon. I just wanted to make that fact known, you know.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, there you go. They couldn't say it if it wasn't true. Thank you so much for the statistics. Let's take a look at email here. Oh, we get so much email. Oh, here's one. A loyal listener in the Union District of Endicott regarding the Secret Service. Secret Service blame. Just a thought. With the head of the Secret Service resigning, I have not heard anyone lay blame on whoever was in charge of the site of the Trump rally in Butler. Whoever was in charge for the Secret Service and FBI at the rally site should be the ones taken to task. As inept as she is, those in charge at the rally site are just as much or more culpable. So far, they have been totally off the radar. Any of those reported sightings could have been acted on by the site boss. Have a good day. Thank you, loyal listener. He's lucky. He lives close to the place where I'd say within about a week they're going to start making donuts. Donuts for good people. Donuts for all people. Thank you, sir. Yeah, that's a good point. I want names. Yeah, she may not be the best and the brightest director the Secret Service has had in its illustrious history, but yeah, I'd like to know who's in charge, who was supposed to be in charge. You know, that's one of the things. Waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for answers to the questions we all have. The person who was in charge of the site, the person who set up what was supposed to be a perimeter, I know nothing about security. I'm not a security person. I'm a journalist, so obviously I know nothing about protecting people at a rally. But even I, spending about 10 seconds from the spot where the candidate was standing on that fateful Saturday a little over a week ago, even I could have taken a look around and say, see that building over there? Looks like it's about 130 yards away, 132 yards away. You make sure, we have to make sure nobody can have access to that building before, during, or immediately after this event. Even I could have directed that part. Morning, you're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
It's John from Binghamton. And when you started the hour out here, Bob, you had a real dilemma, and you wanted the answer to this dilemma, and that was the train and the garage and the fact that the train was remote. So I've got that. I think I've got a direction that you can find out the answer. Pete Buttigieg, he's in charge of transportation. So I think if you contacted him, he'd probably know. And he'd probably know why they allowed the garage to be rebuilt after the incident with the train, which probably wasn't remote in the 70s, remotely operated, I mean. So why did they rebuild the garage if it was damaged back then when it was in the way of the train? So anyway, I think Pete Buttigieg might have the answer for you. Okay.
Well, he's certainly not going to take my call, so I'm back to square one. It's 11:50 at News Radio, WNBF. Well, you bring up Zima. You bring up Zima in passing, and before you know it, Zima lovers are coming out of the woodwork. Here's one, Karen from Conklin, regarding Zima. That used to be my favorite drink back in the day. All right. It did have its supporters. They had Zima, the original Zima, was just clear. It looked like water, and I think that's why it was popular among the high school set. But there were actual adults of drinking age who did like it. I know some. They also came out with that gold version, Zima Gold, and I know a person, he loved it. He really loved it. So it wasn't available for long, but he found it very much to his liking. Oh, Jesse and Owego writes about Zima. That was actually some good stuff, but after a 4-pack of drinking that, at least 3 months has to go by before consuming that again. It gets too overwhelming after a while, but I liked it. Well, maybe that's why they had to pull the plug. Didn't have enough repeat business. 11:51 at WNBF. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where you're calling from?
Hey, Bob. This is Vinny from Binghamton. Sorry, but I heard a caller call in right after I was talking about this gun issue, and he talked about a certain FBI statistic. I just wanted to call back and explain to the caller that you read the wrong statistic. If you had actually listened to what I was saying, I wasn't talking guns. I was talking these AKs. Okay? Now, here's the statistic you should look for. In these mass shootings of schools and theaters and supermarkets, what gun is used more than any other gun? That's the statistic you should look for. And I guarantee you, it's going to be one type of gun.
Well, what about the Susquehanna Valley High School graduate, the one from Conklin, who drove his mom's car to the top supermarket on Buffalo's west side? What kind of weapon did he use?
It wasn't a bow and arrow. I'll tell you that. It wasn't a pistol. It was the gun that I was talking about. See, this is what these.
You mean the gun that he bought over on Nanticoke Avenue in Endicott? That gun?
Yes. And the point I'm trying to make is it's not guns. It's one. It's just, Bob, it's just like it's a deterrent. That's all. We need to make it harder to get this thing. Are they going to get it? Yes, they are. Just like liquor. 21, they're still going to get it. But at least we've got a deterrent. Because if you say, nope, Bob, it's not 21 for liquor anymore, you can be any age. What do you think would happen? Oh, my God, to go crazy.
Sure. I know. I don't know all the answers, but I know that would be a poor choice. Thank you. 11:53 at WNBF. Morning, you're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, Bob. It's DJ from Binghamton. So this guy wants to take away everybody's guns, everybody's rights for a few mentally ill people who go out shooting. That's their right. You can't take away people's rights. What about knives?
Okay, what about then fixing the problem? So going forward, how do we keep misguided people, primarily young men who appear to be in their late teens and early 20s, from killing people with these specific types of weapons? What is the solution?
Better background mental checks.
All right. Thank you. WNBF, good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Carl, Bob.
Hey, long time no talk. Good morning.
Good morning, buddy. I'll talk about these guys talking about guns back and forth, Vinny and the other fella. And I understand where the other fella was coming from talking about what Vinny was saying, but Vinny's not understanding, I don't think, what this other older gentleman meant. And I hit on it. I knew right away what he was trying to say. So if you got time, I'll take a few minutes to explain it.
Well, don't take a few minutes because we only have about a minute left. So try to do the condensed version.
30 seconds to 40 seconds. How's that?
Yeah.
Okay. When are you ready? Tell me.
Start now.
Yeah, Bob. the issue about the weapons being used, the older gentleman that called in, I understand what he's saying, and I don't believe that Vinny understands well enough that any high-powered rifle, you use a .308, or even if you're using just a .223 AK-4 or AK-47 with a 7.62 caliber, they're all high-powered. It doesn't matter what type of gun you use, okay? But the kid could have been using a .308, which would have been devastating if that had been used. But I understand where the older gentleman's trying to explain to Vinny that, look, these, there's high-powered weapons are much more powerful than the AR-15s or the AK-47s. And the older gentleman's right, okay, because I'm around high-powered rifles.
All right. Unfortunately, we're out of time. But I hope you might be able to call in later in the week when we have more time.
Okay, Bob. Bye-bye.
Thanks. And that is all the time we've been allotted for today. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm Bob Joseph on WNBF.